Hey YouTube, I'm Don Vietz. Welcome to my video on Corsair. This is a company that I've been kind of a fanboy of for a long time. I've been paying attention to Corsair. I've owned many of their products for quite a few years now. And I have to say that I'm very, very excited for the fact that they did IPO. Why am I excited, you might ask? Well, there's a couple of reasons. As someone who generally likes to trade hardware stocks to begin with, I have to take another swig of my water here. As someone who generally likes to trade hardware stocks to begin with, pretty much that's my bread and butter. I'm into the indexes, and I pay attention to hardware stocks because, well, I paid attention to hardware for most of my life. It's one of my hobbies, and when you can take a hobby and use the information that you know from that hobby and use it in markets, it can be very beneficial. And in this case, Corsair is a company that I've done a good bit of research about over the past couple of days, and they just recently introduced. Sorry, I had a little guffaw there. They just recently introduced options to the stock. So I had been paying attention to it all the way back since here, but they didn't have options. And as you guys know, probably from watching my videos and watching my stream, which by the way, if you don't know, I do stream on Twitch, live day trade stream. There's a link in the description below, as well as a link to my Discord community where we all hang out and have fun. And by the way, if you could click that like button and the subscribe button, and you'll get to see more content from an awesome person like me. So, we've been talking about this one for a while, but again, like I said, I'm an options trader, so it's hard for me to want to just invest in raw shares. Now, I will say Corsair is probably a really good choice to invest in shares in. However, for me personally, I'm looking at the option side of this. So once I saw today that they have options available now, again, this is very similar to if you watch my Rocket mortgage video. Rocket was similar to this. Rocket IPO'd. They didn't have options. They had options quickly after. And when they did have options, I was able to take advantage of that and make a good little bit of money from them. And in this case, when we look at Corsair, they just released these options recently. I'm not exactly sure when. I just noticed that they were here today. I've been checking every couple days or so. So I'm sure it's been within the week probably. But they just recently added options, and I was looking at the premiums, and I was like, these are not too bad, especially if there's a couple other factors in here that make sense to me. But let's just kind of get started with the most important information here, and then we'll go from there. So, to give you guys a little background on Corsair, they're a very respected company. They make hardware for computers. They make keyboards, headsets, mice, mouse pads, chairs, lighting, cases, CPU coolers, fans, memory, power supplies, custom cooling solutions like all-in-one cooling, water cooling systems, storage like hard drives, and they even make pre-built gaming PCs and probably a couple other things that I'm not even thinking of. At this time, as of the taping of this video, they have a $1.748 billion market cap. Right, so if you were to take all of their shares and sell them at market price, they are valued at $1.784 billion. And they've only been on the market for just a couple weeks now, right? So there's definitely an interesting thing to pay attention to what happens with them here. But I want to give you guys a little bit of a reference here on that. Their current market cap at $1.748 billion compared to their 2018 revenue, which was $937 million, and their 2019 revenue at $1.09 billion, and their current trailing 12-month revenue at $1.299 billion, $1.3 billion, we'll call it. We'll round up a couple $1 million. Who cares? Couple tens of thousands, whatever. So at their current revenue of right around 1.3 trillion or billion, it's not trillion. It would be nice if it was trillion. We're actually very close to their market cap being what their revenue is. They operate at about a 25 to 30% profit margin, which is pretty good for a hardware company, actually. So they're making money. They're not a like a Tesla where they're losing money for years and years and years. They are a net profitable company. And considering how some of these companies in the market are very, very wildly valued, right? Like let's look at Zoom for an example. Zoom is out there where it's trading at 100 times its revenue, right? So if Corsair was trading at 100 times its revenue, it would the stock price would be 100 times higher than it is right now. It would have to be trading at $1,900 a share for it to be trading at as high of a value relative to its revenue as Zoom. Now, obviously, it's kind of an apples to oranges comparison, but I just want to give you guys an understanding of where we stand relatively between the value of the company at market cap and the actual revenue that they bring in. So if we did have a wildly speculative reason to think that Corsair could go up in value by a lot, the market could strongly push this stock to much higher levels, right? And I think right now this is a very, very fair valuation for Corsair, considering what their revenue is and considering the current market cap, right? We also know, based on research, you can find these stats out there, that the gaming industry is obviously likely to grow, right? And it's not just for gaming, the things that they make. They're obviously gaming centric, but anybody wants to have a nice keyboard. Anybody wants to have a nice computer. Anybody wants to have a nice mouse or mouse pad. Whether you're a hardcore gamer or just a regular gamer or just someone who wants to have a nice computer at your house, you're in the market that you might end up doing business with Corsair. Most people could probably do business with Corsair and be happy with the products that they're going to get, even if they're not gamers. But also the gaming industry is growing. It's growing substantially. You're like, right, in 2019, the total gaming, the current value, the total value of the gaming industry was around $151 billion, right? It's expected to grow to $256 billion by 2025. So it's a pretty large increase in the gaming industry over a 5-year period, 6-year period. So when you take that and you couple that with the fact that Corsair is already well known, they're very reputable, they've been selling good products for years, and they have lots of fanboys out there like me who enjoy their products, they have a pretty good chance of having a large bump, right? Very, very good chance that this stock does go up just on those basic reasons right there. But when we add this next reason into the mix, which I think is going to blow you guys' mind, anybody in here who and we'll probably make a video about floating shares, why it matters, and all that in the future. I'll give you guys a quick rundown because I think it's very important for this. Corsair only has 91.85 million shares to begin with, right? So it has right around the same amount of total shares as Rocket Mortgage. Kind of why I compared it to that. The difference, though, is that Corsair's floating shares is extremely low. Corsair only has 17.71 million total floating shares available to trade on the market, right? That means that this stock is a very, very low float stock. It doesn't take much volume to move low float stocks. Something that you guys probably know if you're watching this video. If you don't, like I said, maybe drop a comment below. Let me know you want to know more about low float, why it matters. I'll make a video about it for you guys. And definitely click that like button and the subscribe button. Like I said, more content like this. I know you guys like it. So that it having such low floating shares is huge, right? And it currently has a, what is it, about 6% short interest. So it doesn't have a lot of shorts on it, but it does have a low enough amount of floating shares that if there was an event coming up or some really, really good earnings coming up, it would not take a very big catalyst to move this stock. Just to give you guys an idea, right? And I know this is going to sound like a lot of money, but just consider it in terms of relative value of volume that happens in the market and how much money actually churns through the market on a daily basis. You could buy the entire float for $330 million if you could buy it at market price, right? So if somebody were to put a couple $100 million into Corsair, this thing is going high. It is going to it's going to get moving. It's going to go. It's going to do the thing. It's going to move. It's going to action-packed situation, right? So there's a lot of reason for that. So like I said, we have the fundamental reason, right, that Corsair is a solid company. They're making money. Their market cap is not unrealistic compared to their revenue, right? Actually, it's probably one of the most realistic market caps in the stock market right now compared to their revenue. I actually can't believe it. It blows my mind how good that the relative market cap is to their revenue. And on top of that, it has such a low float that it doesn't take much for this thing to get up and go, right? So these things being considered as the fundamental cases, we also want to look at the technical cases, right? And you can see that this IPO'd here. We had a move up, right? we had sort of a move down, and we're currently in an accumulation, right? You can kind of see the 200 moving average just started to form. You can see that we have a very, again, we're gonna pull this up because I want to show you guys how significant this actually is. Again, this is still probably in a mid phase of the accumulation. It could be a late phase. It's really difficult to say for sure. But I just want to show you guys kind of an idea of where we stand with it. And I think you guys will see this pretty clearly. So you can kind of see where we're at here, right? We kind of start off with our accumulation here. We have our second test, which tests a little bit lower than this previous one. And then we're kind of looking like we're in the third or fourth phase, phase C or phase D of this accumulation. And this does look like it's forming a little bit of a triangle, a little bit of a flag. It looks like it's ready to be bullish. On top of that, we're above all of the 30-minute moving averages. This looks like it's just about ready to pop. And again, like I was saying, it has low floating shares, so there's a good chance that if this does pop, it pops hard. So this is not bad. Even if you're just a regular stock trader and you're looking for this, hey, maybe this goes up to 24. Well, it's a pretty solid gain for just a regular day trader stock. You know, that's 20% swing up on this. But let's say you're interested in options. We got November 20th options on this. That's 30 days out, 35 days out from today. You can buy options that are in the money. These are in the money, $2. Almost $2 in the money. You're going to pay anywhere from $2.85 to $3.60 for these. If you can get filled at the bid on this, you are stealing these things. I would never sell you these options for that price. You could not convince me to sell you those options for that price, and that is why I'm so interested in buying them, because I can't believe anyone would sell them for that, especially considering how the float is on this thing. This all it takes is just a small spur for this thing to get going, right? Even if you go out a little bit further into 2021, you can get in the money $2 options for $6 per contract, or $6 per share. This is a really good stock, guys. Like I said, I kind of went over the reasons why. We have a very nice little 30-minute accumulation here. We have great fundamentals. We have a really solid company on our hands. To me, personally, this is a 100% buy this stock situation. If you like this one, definitely drop a comment below. Again, I'm going to beg you guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate everybody watching the video. I hope that you guys see some value in this. I hope that you maybe learn something about what I look for in these stocks when I'm doing analysis of them. And again, like I said, you know, if you don't know much about options, I did make an options video that'll be uploaded soon if it's not already. So check that out. It'll give you a little bit of an explanation, a real quick crash course. It's not a deep dive. I don't go over every little thing, but I do give you guys a crash course so that you can kind of understand on the surface the basics of options, how they work, and you know, sort of what you should do with them. But I hope you like this video. Like I said, I will catch you guys in the next one, and I thank you guys for being part of my YouTube channel.